What is going on, everyone? We are back with another review for a new Twilight Zone episode. So before we get too far into this, please remember if you want to see everything a week early, go check out the Patreon. The link will be in the description below. He's cleaning my hand. Thank you, bud. I appreciate it. But yeah, so everything comes out a week early over on Patreon, so you could see this sooner. In fact, you could have seen like 7 things sooner by the time you actually watched this if you are not on the Patreon. I'm just saying. But yeah. So without further conversation, so we are here to review the Twilight Zone season 1, episode 4, the 16 millimeter shrine. Stop. Directed by Mitchell Lazen? And is he the... How often do people come back for things? Okay, so he comes back in a couple episodes. Looks like a few people come back. Then it looks like he's only done 2 episodes in the first season. And maybe he doesn't come back at all. Oh, hi, buddy. But yeah, so it's directed by Richard Leeson. Obviously written by Rod Serling, who I still can't stand the way he talks. And this episode was released October 23rd, 1959. Music was done by Franz Waxman. That's a name. That's a hell of a name. Yeah. So here's a problem I'm starting to have with the Twilight Zone. The endings aren't as messed up as I would like them to be. That kind of hurts, bud. Yeah, you're kneading my arm. And here's what I mean by that. I like messed up endings. Twist endings are fun, but I like stop. But I like messed up endings, and this ending at least was a bit more leaning on the side of messed up than the others have been. However, so let me explain. This entire episode is basically about the main lady of the show, of this episode. She's an ex movie star who is no longer in the limelight. She's 20 years past the prime of her time in movies. She's done everything she can to keep herself looking almost as beautiful as she was when she was 20 years younger. And everyone around her is getting older. And she wants to pretend like it's still the 30s, even though it's the 50s. She wants acting to continue being like it was back then, but everybody's into rock and roll and things like that now, and she hates the way things are going. She sits in her room all day with the lights off, with the camera playing her old movies, and she wants to relive those glory days over and over and over and over again, and that's all she wants to do. She gets an opportunity at a movie, and when she goes in there, the guy that's trying to hire her for the movie basically says, we're going to have you play a mom, and she loses her mind because she's like, I'll never play a mother. I'm here to play younger roles and things like that. And the dude just lays into her, basically, talking shit. She then gets mad. She goes home and continues to just watch these things. So one of the guys that she wants to that she was in a couple movies with comes over to visit her. At the behest of her friend, and they're sitting there, and her friend is talking, or brings the guy over, and he looks really old. He doesn't look anything like he did in the movies they were in together 20 years prior. And she asks how he's doing with acting, and he tells her that, I don't act anymore, and she freaks out, basically, and is like, I can't believe you don't do any of these things. She doesn't understand how he could live with life. Bye, bud. And she's just like, you're old, you're dead to me, leave. And he leaves, and she panics, and kicks everybody out. And so that night she goes to watch a movie, and she looks in the mirror and wishes that, or not looks in the mirror, she looks in the camera as she's watching the movie and really wishes hard that she could be in that movie and in that world again. And somehow she gets pulled into the movie. Now you don't actually see her go into the movie, but you know that it's implied she gets pulled in. The lady comes in freaking out, the maid, and calls over the friend that had been coming to visit throughout the entirety of the episode. And he turns on the movie, and she's acting a role inside the movie where she's still in the house. And everybody that came over is still their young selves, and they all go out to the back to go swim in the pool, and then the movie ends. But as it's ending, her friend yells to the screen, come back to us, and she stops, she blows him a kiss, and then leaves. Just throws her scarf down. And this is in the lobby. And so when the movie's over, he steps out, he walks out into the lobby, and her scarf's laying on the floor, and he looks around, and she's gone, and that's how the story ends. Now, here's the thing. That's at least a somewhat messed up ending, right? Because she gets sucked into the movie, and she's just gone for good, leaving everybody that she knew behind so that she could live the rest of eternity young and in the film that she had wanted, which is what she wanted. Not messed up enough for me, though. A couple things I was really hoping would have happened because of how things played out. First and foremost, when she seen that her friend that she used to act with looked really old, it gave me this idea, and if you go through and watch along, it made me think, man, do you know how crazy this would be if we get a scene where she looks in a mirror and she's actually really old, but she doesn't see herself as really old, unless she looks in a mirror. And since she doesn't look in mirrors, she doesn't see that she's old. So everybody that, like, when people come to visit, she still sees herself as she wants to see herself, but everyone else sees her for what she is. And I thought that would be really cool. And then later on, when the maid walks in and she's up on the movie screen, you don't actually see her up on the movie screen. I thought maybe she was so eager to get into the movie screen, somehow, some way, she, like, offed herself, or, committed an self-unaliving ceremony, even if by accident, up on the movie screen. And that is not what happened either. So I was a little disappointed that we didn't get a messed up twist ending. Or the last one that I was really hoping was going to happen was up on the screen, the last thing she talks about before she walks away is she ushers everybody out to the pool outside. She's like, let's go swim in the pool. And she leaves the hanky or the scarf down on the ground, and the guy afterwards goes out to the lobby and finds the scarf there. I was really hoping he was going to walk outside and find her floating in the pool, right? Because it's a messed up ending. But none of that ever happened. It's almost still like a good ending where he goes out and realizes she got what she wanted. She wished to remain young in movies forever, and that's what she got. And it just, I find the stories overall really interesting. I don't like that every story Rod Serling puts out seems to have a good ending of some kind. I don't want good endings all the time. And a lot of that might be because it's the 50s, so they weren't really looking for super messed up endings or anything like that. And I'm hoping this changes as the series goes. But everything has just had a pretty good ending so far. And I'm waiting for that one episode that's just you're gonna be like, holy crap, how did this happen, right? That's what I'm looking for. So hopefully we get that soon. But we'll see. So anyways, guys, that is gonna do it for this review. I did like the episode. I just wish it was way more messed up. So the next Twilight Zone episode is going to be called Walking Distance. The next thing you will see is the next Goosebumps episode, and I think it's My Hairiest Adventure. But yeah, so that is going to do it for this episode. Love you guys, and we'll see you next time. Peace.